All right, let's jump into the math and my approach when it comes to a winning direct response strategy. Now, I oversaw about $1 million to $2 million a month in ad spend, and this is how I would best approach a new brand or a weathered brand, or you're looking to make some changes to get more effectiveness out of your direct response approach. So I broke this down into 5 steps. I'm just going to fill in the blanks and kind of give you my opinion and my approach of how we were able to scale from zero to spending $1 million to $2 million a month, depending on the month, of course. But here's my approach in 5 simple steps. So the very first thing that we need to do is build the marketing machine. And that's really broad. What is the marketing machine? The marketing machine is everything that's happening in the background away from your ad. So if you look at it this way, draw a line right down the middle of your business on the, I guess, your right side. On the right side, you've got your marketing machine. On the left side, you have your advertising, your front end, your funnels, all of that good stuff. We want to focus on that marketing machine. We want to be doing a campaign every 4 to 6 weeks. And when I say campaign, there's a lot of different words flying around. We're talking about promos, we're talking about sales, we're talking about events, those kind of things to take your existing audience, even if you only have 50 people on your list or in your audience, and just doing some kind of sale event, some kind of promo event. Get in the habit. Sit down January 1, plan out every 4 to 6 weeks. What are you going to do? Is it going to be a simple sale? Are you releasing a product? Are you going to do some giant training or one of those things? You want to look at every 4 to 6 weeks, what am I doing? And just get this flywheel turning in the background, right? Because you're about to feed a lot of cold customers, a lot of new audience members into this flywheel, so it's better to just keep it moving. And this is rinse and repeat too. If you do a sale in 1 year, you can repeat that same sale the next year. You know, it doesn't have to be always coming up with this bespoke, brand new thing. Look at it as just the machine that's turning in the background. It's just your normal marketing efforts, your normal promotions, your sales, things of that nature to keep that marketing machine moving. And it's best to break these down and split them up in between sales, promos, events, things of that nature. If you're over here doing, a sale every 4 to 6 weeks, I don't even know what I'm going to write here, like 4 sales within the next, I don't know, quarter, right? This gets a little dry. This is what you see a lot of brands doing, like, oh, BOGO, oh, 10% off, oh, 15% off, or whatever. Sorry, let me just erase that so we don't get confused. But if you're just doing that over and over again, that's not going to be it's not going to work for you. You got to look at it as like, hey, this is an organic ecosystem and your audience members aren't foolish. If they see you doing a sale every 4 to 6 weeks, they're just going to wait for those sale periods to actually purchase from you. It's best to mix this up. Do a sale like a BOGO or something like that, then do a training and sell on the training, or then do a product release or a blind release, something along those lines. But every 4 to 6 weeks, we want to be doing some kind of promo sale event. That's your marketing machine. Get that turning in the background, and you could set that up in a year in advance. Everything can be automated from that standpoint, especially using Klaviyo and Shopify. Okay, so start that marketing machine. One last thing with that, the reason we want to do that is that's going to be the most profitable piece when it comes to your advertising and marketing. And you just want to get that moving. You just want to get that flywheel moving, because we're going to try and lose on the front end to make up on the back end. The next piece is find your accelerator pedal. Your accelerator pedal is an offer or a funnel that is a 1-to-1 ROAS on the front end, right? This is what brings new customers in. And now the key here is not just 1-to-1, but not to 1 ROAS. You want this to be NC ROAS. The reason we want NC there is because we want new customers only to be 1-to-1. It doesn't matter if you have warm customers filtering in. You don't want to look at that blended. You want to look at new customers only, 1-to-1. And to go a step further, you might have heard on a separate video, I just call this true ROAS. This is when you want to take into account there's more things than just return on ad spend, right? It's not spend and revenue that comes out of it, right? That's the algorithm to get you that ROAS number. But what you want to also take into account are things like processing fees. Like if you're using Stripe, you can probably say that's about 3.5 to 4.5% of your sale. You want to look at cost of goods sold, what's going into that, any software costs in order to pull that off. You want to look at those smaller fees that are not put into ROAS to really understand what that one-to-one needs to be. Because on the front end, if you do a normal ROAS calculation, you might see that you have a 1.0, but then you start adding in processing fees, COGS, software, things like that. And now that one-to-one now looks like a 0.6 or something along those lines. So it might mean you need to shoot for like, who knows, maybe you need to shoot for like a 1.3x ROAS in order for it to make sense, right? Once you factor in all these processing fees and everything like that into that number, your ROAS, in order to break even, needs to be a 1.3, because the whole point that we want with this accelerator pedal is to break even. We want an SLO, a self-liquidating offer. We just want this accelerator pedal to cancel itself out. Everything that we're about to spend on this offer, we want the revenue that's coming back in, or the return, the ROI that's coming back in, to offset the marketing cost. So if I spend $10,000 a day on this offer, I want $10,000 back. And when I say spend $10,000 a day, I mean factoring in the processing fees, the COGS, and all of that, not just ad spend. So we want to look at this and find what that is. It's okay to start with what is my just general ROAS, return on ad spend, to keep things simple for you, especially if you don't have a lot of ad spend and a lot of traffic right now. It's gonna be it's not gonna make a lot of sense for you to pay attention to processing fees. Pay attention to your COGS. You don't want those to be too high, but software, things like that, because you don't have enough traffic going through the flow. You just want to get that offer one-to-one first, and then after you get that one-to-one, start making those little tweaks. You might make a tweak on upsell 1, or might go for that extra 0.3% on downsell 2. Who knows, right? That's when you want to start looking at when we start getting some more traffic through the door. But if you want to start, just look at that one-to-one. Just find an offer right out of the jump that's new customer, one-to-one on the front end, right? Cold customers, new customers only. Don't factor in warm. This is your self-liquidating offer. The reason we call this the accelerator pedal is almost, if you can imagine, like in a vehicle, pressing that accelerator pedal down, this is the pedal that you want to press down, right? That'll come up here in just a second. So let's go to the next piece of all this. All right. So once we have that accelerator pedal, we have the thing that we're going to push down, but that's not going to allow us to scale to where we want to scale to, right? We have to look at what's our profitable offers on the front end. So we need to develop some profitable front end offers. FE, just front end, just so it makes sense. And what we're looking for here is every new customer ROAS metric is going to be different depending on your business, right? So we want to be looking at offers, in my opinion, and what we did and what we had on the front end is 1.5x ROAS plus new customer ROAS. Not new customer ROAS, because these are warm and cold. 1.5, let's do an X here, 1.5x ROAS plus. The reason we want to do this is because we know 1.5 is, it's somewhat profitable. If we factor in COGS and everything, it might come out to like a 1.2, 1.25, right? This is why this metric, this ROAS metric, I don't like it that much, but it's easy to explain and get across in this video. But I think if I explain this well, you understand that don't live and die by this number. Anyways, but this is what we're looking for. It's just a profitable front end, multiple offers, honestly. You start with one and then you replicate and tweak it a little bit. So for us, for this example, we might go after something like a masterclass on the front end, and we might look for 1.5, or depending on COGS and processing fees and all that, we might want this to be a 1.8. If we got a 1.8, we're happy, right? And so we'll scale it as far as we can at a 1.8, but the second it dips down to a 1.7, we want to bring that ad spend back down. We want to keep multiple offers like this, right? You might have just a training on the front end, that's a 1.8. You might have just a VSL, straight to product offer, that's a 1.8. And we want to keep these where they're at. We don't want to scale these. This is going to be blended warm and cold, whatever it might be, whatever's favorable for you to hit these numbers day in, day out. We just want to hold right here. Get these as high spend-wise as you can go without dipping below this number. And say this is like your floor, right? And you're getting like 2.0, 2.5s or whatever. Keep scaling up until you hit that floor and stop, right? Because we want these offers to be profitable to offset our accelerator pedal. That's the offer that we want to scale at the end of the day, okay? Once you have these, you have your accelerator pedal, you got your marketing machine flowing in the background, you propped up a few good profitable offers, and you got those scaled up as far as they can go without, jumping in or dipping below these numbers here. You want to find your LTV metrics for new customers. I love LTV metrics, and they're great to look at with warm and everything like that. But the most important one here, a direct response approach, is new customers. In particular, if you want to go even deeper, we want to look at new customers from that accelerator pedal. The reason we want to do this is because the accelerator pedal is essentially what we want to scale way up, right? So if we have these all humming along profitably, and that accelerator pedal is, it's doing well at a 1-to-1, it's self-liquidating, it's covering its own ad spend at the end of the day. We want to look at what is the lifetime value every 10, 20, 30, 60, and 90 days for that accelerator pedal, because once we know what these are, now we can make decisions based on when we get our full return, right? So say our accelerator pedal on the front end, 1-to-1, we're making our revenue back day of, but we want to know when is it actually, profitable. We might find at day 20 that 1.1, that 1.0 turns into like a 1.5. If it does, is that profitable for us? That's a question that you'll have to ask yourself and run the math, because every business is going to be different when it comes to profitability. But if this is profitable for us on day 20 here, I want to scale, especially if I have these other offers in place, these more profitable offers in place to cover my butt. I want to scale that front end offer, that accelerator pedal, as high as possible, knowing that I'm going to make profit 20 days from now, right? And as long as I can float that, maintain that, I can scale that to a certain height. So you might be spending $30,000 a day on that accelerator pedal, that front end offer that's only going to cold audience, right? And then you might find, hey, I'm profitable after 20 days, which would be amazing. I'm profitable after 20 days, and I've got these other profit machines rolling. They're floating the business, and I want to scale. And so I can reverse engineer the math and say, okay, I want to scale up from $30,000 a day to $70,000 a day. Can we float that given our profitability on the front end with these offers and our marketing machine on the back end, right? It just becomes a numbers game. The second we can get it there where everything is just logical and numbers, that's when everything starts to make sense and you can make really easy data-driven decisions. So this might be getting a little complicated, but the point of the matter being is that you need to have a profitable front end, you need to have a profitable back end, meaning marketing machine rolling in the back end, and you need to find a self-liquidating offer, an offer that cancels itself out, okay? So there's one more step to all of this. Once you find this, don't do anything just yet, and this will start to close everything. Sorry, as I struggle with this paper. We want to find ad spend over revenue. Now, this metric, this is subjective. This is going to be different for everybody. It depends on the health of your business. I can tell you from experience, when we were going at, $1.5-ish million in ad spend a month, our ad spend over revenue metric was 33%. All this means is that we took the amount that we spend per day, all one word, divided by the revenue per day. We'll just put day there, run out of space. So we took that and divided by the revenue per day. So you could say, if we made $100,000 in a day, spend is going to be 33K, right? And we wanted to stay there. This was healthy for us, right? This is what, aggressive health looked like for us. Where we would lose, right, might be 50%. And so if we saw this, then we knew that we needed to bring down ad spend because we didn't have the revenue to cover this level of ad spend, right? So if we wanted to get aggressive in scale, right, that number might be, 43%. If we had a 43% spend over rev, Then we could say, okay, this is where we, like our floor was, this is like where, the whole business is one-to-one. We could scale ad spend as high as possible as long as we didn't go past this number here. So what I'm trying to say is that every day in, day out, finding this metric, this is where our health was. Yours might be 10%. I don't know. Yours might be 70%. Just really just depends on the back end of your business. But we found that health metric, and then we found what our ceiling was. So I don't remember off the top of my head, but say 43% was our ceiling. This is how high we could spend in relation to revenue in order to not go in the red, essentially. So once we found this, now we could go all the way back to the beginning. Let's see if I've got the right. I do not. We can go all the way back to the beginning, find that accelerator pedal. Let's see if we got lucky. Yeah, we sure did. Find that accelerator pedal here and scale this up, right? And because this is one-to-one, I'm spending more and I'm making the same. But because we are capped on profitability here, like we can't spend any more with these, this is what creates that gap or that additional percentage from 33% to 43%, right? Because we're spending more, but we're not making as much. So we're bringing a bunch of new customers in for the next 20 days to then become profitable with that lifetime value, if that makes sense. This all gets really complicated, but to simplify it, this is what you need to hear. You just need to build a marketing machine in the background. That's the easiest place for profitability. You need to find out what that self-liquidating offer is, because that's what's going to give you the ability to scale something way up and bring a lot of new customers through the door. You need to go after some front-end offers that are profitable. These aren't meant to be scaled. Just get them as high as you can go while keeping them profitable. You need to find your LTV metrics for new customers. This is extremely important. Make sure you're looking at how much is a new customer worth after 10, 20, 30, 60, 90 days. And then finally, find that financial model, that business metric that allows you to spend more without creeping into the red from a business perspective, because this is what will allow you to scale from a direct response perspective on the front end.